Okay, I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out how to get it pulled up on. There we go, to where I can see comments. Sorry, got my arm in the way. All right, just a couple more minutes here. Make sure everybody's had the opportunity to log on. Hello, thank you for joining me. Earbud in here and make sure that's gonna play nice tonight. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Christy Hillock, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator with CJ Card Creations here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm so glad you're here tonight. It's been a crazy week. It's the last week of school for most of the schools in Salt Lake and in Utah. And oh my goodness, these kids just have so much going on at the end of school. Hey, Janie. So yeah, I haven't been able to be in school like volunteering or anything all year long, and all of a sudden I feel like I've been there every day. But today I was doing tattoos, like the little stick-on tattoos for all these kids at their field day. So that was pretty fun. But anyway, I will go ahead and just talk about a few things and then we'll get some stamping done. So the first thing that I wanted to tell you is the Join Plus promotion is only through May 31st, which is next Monday. It's so weird that Memorial Day is on the 31st. Anyway, so with this promotion, you get an additional $30 on top of the $26 that you normally get with the starter kit. So the way that works is the starter kit is $99 total, and that gets you normally $125 in product, but with this it's $155 in product. And you get free shipping and free business supplies with that original shipment. Subsequently, you get a 20% discount, which is fantastic. You also get to be part of my team, which is a lot of fun. I have an upline who's amazing and provides all sorts of training if you really want to make this a business. And she also provides just fun meetings and inspiration for projects and that kind of thing. And then as a part of my team, you get access to all of my paper pumpkins and my tutorials, and you get discounted class kits, and you just get to hang out with me, which I think is fantastic. So that is going on through Monday. So we'll put that aside. The next thing that I wanted to tell you is about the United Through Creativity digital download. And this is a free download from Stampin' Up! This year as part of World Diversity Day. So essentially, they just want to support cultural diversity across the world. Stampin' Up! Has markets in Europe and in the South Pacific and in the US and Canada. And so we definitely have a lot of diversity in our crafters. And so what they did, they made this download and it's 14 pages. You can print it, and I would recommend printing it just on our regular basic white cardstock. And then it tells you coordinating products, so different colors that coordinate with it. And then the Label Me Fancy Punch, the Stitched Rectangle dies, and the Tasteful Labels dies all go really well with the different images and sentiments. So I only printed one page to give you just kind of an idea of what it looks like. Most of the images are these line drawings, so they're great for coloring, whether you like to use Stampin' Blends or watercolor pencils, or if you're brave and want to try the new pastels that Stampin' Up! Has just released. So, and it looks like I must have printed it in black because I want to say this was in, different colors, but the sentiments are in different languages, and some of them are more pertinent or more familiar in different areas, like Fancy a Cuppa is one of them, and I thought that was really cute. So anyway, this is definitely something to go grab while it's out there, and it's not a rush. I mean, I definitely think you have time. Hey, Aunt Pat, thanks for joining. So really, really neat thing that Stampin' Up's doing here. The next thing is that starting June 1st, they are doing kits by Stampin' Up! And so they have two different levels. Some are all-inclusive and include stamping, and some are all-inclusive with no stamping. So either way, you get to put together your card and give friends a handmade card. The price point is fantastic. I think the ones that don't have stamping are between 12 and 15, and the stamping ones are 20 to 25, if I remember correctly. So this is mentioned on page 8 of our annual catalog, but coming up on June 1st, you'll actually be able to see what kits are available. And they are saying that they will be updating it frequently, and all the kits that they have are kind of while supplies last. So if there's something that you see, it's definitely something you want to grab. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to Costco and seen something and then gone back the next week and they're just completely out of it. So don't waste time. If you see it and like it, go ahead and get it. And then the next thing is that this mini catalog, which is beautiful, and you can tell I've used it a lot and flipped through it a ton. This is retiring at the end of June. And so they have released their retiring list. If there is something that you want out of here starting June 1st, everything is just while supplies last. So you definitely don't want to wait too long on that. There are some really great discounts coming up with the retiring list as well. All of this is in the email that I sent out, I think this morning. It's been a really long day, but I think it was today. And so if you have any questions, you can always refer back to that. If you aren't on my email list, I would love it if you signed up. There should be a link on my Facebook page somewhere, and if you can't find it, just let me know and I will get it sent over to you or sign you up without you having to mess with it. Oh, these are those cute little tabs. And so there are some blank ones if you wanted to add extra tabs. These go with the annual catalog. I think I showed them, but they're color coordinated to the section, and they're just so fun. I'm so excited because it's always, I mean, it's 200 pages to flip through, and when you get a new one, you don't really have a good sense of where things are. So anyway, okay, I think that's enough scatterbrain talking. The last thing is just our Expressions in Color Paper Pumpkin Kit. The subscription period ends on June 10th. And this is going to include two ink spots. You'll make 9 cards with coordinating envelopes, and you get your exclusive stamp set and all the adhesives and everything. And it coordinates with the oh my goodness, Expressions in Ink suite that is in the annual catalog. So there you go. All right, so tonight for what we're going to create, we'll see how it goes. Normally I do my planning for my Thursday night lives during Emily's Thursday naps. And today, like I said, I was out sticking tattoos on lots of kids. So I didn't have a ton of time this week because, again, it's just been crazy. But this, I made this card yesterday with the iconic dies that I showed you guys last week. And I just think they're so cute. I love these mushrooms. They're so fun. But I didn't want to just recreate this because it honestly is not a terribly complicated card. It does have a couple of layers, but it's, you could very easily copy it just from looking at it right here. So what I wanted to do is make something that's the same general idea and the same products, but a completely different card. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to set our inspiration aside. So the first thing that I want to do is just take my kind of pre-cut stuff here. So I decided to change up the color scheme as well. So this is Cherry Cobbler, and then the basic white. This is Soft Suede, and then Mossy Meadow. And this is already cut out from the Hippo and Friends dies, which I will tell you are becoming my absolute favorite dies because they are layering, and we lost a lot of our layering dies when the last catalog retired. So these stitched octagons, except I don't know if you can call it an octagon when they're not all equal. But anyway, those guys, and then these cute little dot stitching, they aren't exactly the same, but they layer really nicely. And then these are what I used on my sample card. So this is a killer set of dies. And then what I wanted to do first is take my Stamparatus, and I know I've used it on here, but I don't know if I've really talked about it that much. This is just our stamp positioning tool. Essentially what it does is allows you, especially with these bigger stamps, to stamp it, and if you don't like how it inked up the first time, you can restamp it without worrying about getting kind of that halo-y thing going on. And it comes with a foam mat for our photopolymer stamps, but because this is a cling stamp, just a red rubber cling, we don't need that foam mat. So I've taken that out and I just have, kind of my scratch paper and then the grid that's on the Stamparatus itself. So I'm just going to line this up here in my little washi tape frame. It comes with 2 magnets and they are insanely strong and will snap together and break if you aren't careful. And so I have wrapped them in this very ugly, very unexciting duct tape, but it not only it limits the snapping a little bit, but it also just helps me pull them back apart or pick them up off the cardstock if I need to. So I just made these little flags. So there's that. And I use this a ton. It's great when you're mass producing. If you're making 10 or 50 of a given card, then it just saves you a little bit of time. Hopefully I'm not shaking as I ink this up. So I'm just going to use soft suede ink on soft suede cardstock. And once you put it on there, you just really want to give it kind of a good press and make sure that all of the stamp makes contact with that cardstock. And we'll lift it up and see how it did. And I think that turned out beautifully. So we'll just set this aside for now. The next thing that I want to do is just burnish this score line so it closes a little bit better. And I haven't decided. I brought 2 options for twine or ribbon. So we're not going to stick this on just yet because I want to be able to look at those. So the next stamp that we'll use is actually a happy hello to you, because you kind of expect cards for your birthday. I expect cards if I send someone a gift or do something amazing for someone, which, let's be honest, isn't that often. But I think just a hello, friendly, like I'm thinking about you card means a ton. And so I like to make those. And they're also really great if you just have different events. I mean, I feel like you could send a happy hello on somebody's birthday, and that would be just fine. So we will just stamp this on some basic white. Make sure that we get a good image. And I do have a foam mat under this grid paper as well. And so that does help with my stamping, just to come out a little more evenly. So we will cut this out with that die. And I think that's actually all of our stamping, which doesn't feel like it's very much, but we will roll with it. So I'm going to use my cute little mini cut and emboss here. And I was having some issues with it, and I was getting really frustrated because I was trying to teach a class and show how wonderful it is, and I was having problems. I finally was told by one of my customers that if you have paper that sticks out past the plates on the leading edge of the plates, it just won't run through. And lo and behold, once she told me that, I've been having no issues at all. So that's nice. And it's really easy to use. The plates are numbered, and then that base plate tells you exactly which order you need it to be in and that kind of thing. So, all right, so I'm pretty sure that's going to cut straight with the stamp. And it does take just a little bit of muscle. So we'll run that through. I'm trying to not shake the camera because that's just never fun to watch. Okay, so now if I can pick these up, you can see how that is going to layer. And I just think that that looks beautiful. These colors are from the Regals family, and they are richer really than I use a lot of the time. But I just felt like for what I wanted to create here, they were the right choice. So now instead of mushrooms, I'm going to take this cute little bird. And I love how these dies are very, they're kind of intricate, but they cut fantastically well. Some of our intricate dies in the past have not cut as well. So yeah, isn't that a good thing to know? With my old machine, I could have paper sticking out almost anywhere except the sides, and it cut fine. So I just never even thought that that could be the problem. So now with these little detailed guys, there are a bunch of pieces that will pop out. So just gonna knock those out here. And yes, I'm making a huge mess. And no, I'm probably not gonna clean it up tonight, but that's okay. So we've got our bird done. And just knock those little bits off of here. And then the last thing that I want to cut out is this little tree branch. So we'll do this on Mossy Meadow. And can you tell I've been crafting for a while? I mean, I just have bits of cardstock from all sorts of projects that look all cut up, and I refuse to give up on them. There's always something small that you can use to cut that last bit out. So anyway, okay. I'm glad you're laughing at me or with me, whatever. All right, so let's see how our little branch cut out here. So, I mean, it's just beautiful. It's really delicate. Anyway, I think this is going to get a ton of use with future projects. So, and it's one, like I said last week, I did not see it the first few times I looked at the catalog, because it doesn't have a stamp set. It's not a bundle. It's just this kind of solo little thing. So, right, Janie? I mean, you know, we do reach a point where some of it just has to go, but it's nice to be able to feel like you're not just wasting a ton of stuff too. So I feel like this is a little dark because I did use all the regal colors. And so what I wanted to try is just taking this piece of white cardstock, and I mean, obviously I'll line it up better here in a second, but it's just an 1/8 inch larger than my soft suede piece. So it's going to be a pretty slim border. And it just brightens things up a ton. So that's the first little trick that I wanted to do. And then the next thing that I needed to decide was whether I should use this beautiful Mossy Meadow braided trim that is retiring at the end of June. And I'm terribly sad because it's gorgeous and it's easy to work with and it goes with tons of things. So we can do this wrapped around like that, and then it'll, wow, my hands just won't get out of the way. Then the layers will just go on like that. So that's an option. Or we can take just some basic white twine and I'll wrap this more than once around, but I just want to be able to kind of have a feel for how this is going to turn out. And I don't know, what do you think? I feel like it could kind of go either way, but I'd love to see some ideas from you guys and kind of get some direction. So I'll just wait a minute while you ponder. Yeah, I don't know. They're just both so pretty. And then the other things, I have some other embellishments that we're going to look at deciding on too. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and just start adhering things while you guys are coming up with your input here. Um, It's always a trick finding the things. Joe and I have been sharing the craft room a lot this week because he has been able to come home and take care of Emily so I could go to school and not worry about her and if she was supposed to be there. And with COVID, they've definitely lightened up a lot, but they still are having some restrictions. So I didn't want to drag her along for everything. Plus, she's just a holy terror. She's so cute, but she likes to be the center of the world. So, all right. So I just used a little bit of seal to stick that on there. And go ahead and do the same here. Glad you're liking it. Okay. So there is our little sentiment layer. And I think that with having put the white border, I am going to go ahead and just use the Mossy Meadow trim. So, oh, Aunt Pat, if only you could hang out with her for a little bit. I mean, I would guess that David's kids could probably hold their own with her, but she is just a piece of work. So, oh, that's really high. I guess it'll be okay. So, I mean, sometimes she just looks at me like, yeah, I don't even know why you're here, Mom. I've got this. So, just used a little bit of seal on either side to adhere the twine so that I don't have to use quite as much and I don't have to tie a knot or a bow or anything. And so we'll do that like so, and I think that's going to work. And then this is flat enough that I can go ahead and still just glue this directly onto the card base instead of popping it up. So I am going to go ahead and do that here. And normally, back to the saving cardstock to an insane degree, I would have actually stamped my sentiment in the middle of that white piece and then cut it out of there, but that was just too hard to do live. So this is what you get. But normally I just don't like to let go of that much cardstock. So I am going to pop up the little sentiment panel here. David has a lot of competition among his kids, huh? It's funny. I mean, I really kind of thought that since there's almost 5 years between my two, maybe there would be no fighting, but they're still fighting. So constant bickering and just trying to get attention, and I don't know. It's interesting. Children are fascinating. So, all right. There is all of that. And now the one thing about these dies being so dainty is that it's going to be a little tough to glue them on without getting glue all over everywhere. And I think I can get away with just using glue dots, so that's what we're going to try here. The other thing that I could have done would have been to use the adhesive sheets. And if I had been slightly better prepared for tonight, I definitely would have done that here. But I did use them recently on I don't know if you've seen the open range dies in the mini catalog, but being from West Texas with the big sunsets and the oil derricks and windmills and everything, that set just spoke to me in a way that I still can't totally explain, but it just really feels like home. And I cut out the windmill recently and the barbed wire fence with the adhesive sheets. And it is so easy. And it just basically what you do is adhere the sheet to a piece of cardstock, and then you run your die with that through um, the die cutting machine, and then you've created your beautiful little sticker that's crazy easy to adhere to your project. So definitely something to think about when you've got these dainty little things. All right, so we're going to stick that on there, and then have my cute little bird here. I kind of just want to get some liquid glue on this guy. I think it'll be just a teeny tiny touch easier. So hopefully I'm staying in the frame. So Jonah had his baseball organizational meeting tonight, so Joe took both the kids to do that, and I'm really curious to hear how it's going to be. They are the New York Yankees, so Jonah wasn't hugely excited until he kind of found out a little bit more about it and then realized that they're a pretty good team, so should be fun. And his coach is great, so I'm really glad that we are able to play sports with people that we know, because Murray is just a little bit smaller community than the valley as a whole. So all right, there is my little bird. So a couple other ideas. So there's not a spray on glue that Stampin' Up sells. um, I've never used that, but certainly it would be an option. One trick is to use a sponge with just glue on we have silicone craft sheets, and you just get glue on the sponge and then rub it over the back of whatever your die cut is. And that typically works well enough that you don't get oozing. But I don't know, I struggle with that. It's just not my favorite process. And then the adhesive sheets I struggle with using sometimes because I feel like I'm wasting a lot of it by, cutting out of the big sheet, but it just honestly makes such a difference that I think it's totally worthwhile. So moving on, I've got the holiday rhinestone jewels. I've got the resin hearts, and I would only use the white ones for this. And then I've got the ladybug trinkets. And I just, didn't know how anything was going to look. But I kind of think that my little bird needs an eye. Let's see what we think. Oh, that guy's a little big. Try this teeny tiny one. And yes, I'm using scissors because I just don't feel like getting up again to find my take your pick tool. But it would certainly be easier than the nonsense that I'm getting up to right now. All right, so I like that. Yeah, this spray is, so what I did we had some like spritzy, glittery stuff, and I just commandeered one of our shipping boxes and turned that into where I did all of my spritzing and spraying. So I'm sure I could have done something like that with spray on glue as well. But yeah, I just had never even thought about how handy that would be. So I don't know, what do we think about the little ladybugs? They're kind of cute. Kind of in keeping with the theme here. So we'll go ahead and use those. I think the hearts would just be a little too bright. So we'll get rid of those here. So I'm glad you all like the bird. I just think these dies are amazing. Definitely having fun. And then, I have several new products that I haven't gotten to use yet. And the one that I want to play with next is this die set that cuts out stitched little hearts and, or sorry, not hearts, but circles and rectangles. But then the negative image is also just really great for different smaller things. So I've seen a lot of more of the cutesy stamping with that die set. Like the party puffins are these cute little birds with hats and whatever. But I think I want to try it with not cutesy. So we'll see how that shakes out. All right. And there it is. So these are two different cards using the same stamps and dies, and they just look completely different, and I'm not sure which one I like better. I do think those mushrooms, they're just amazing, but the bird is so sweet. I love the cutout part on the wings and the belly. So anyway, I hope that you loved this and feel a little bit inspired to go create something. And definitely, if you do create, I would love it if you shared it on my page. And if you have ideas for other projects or techniques or anything like that, I would love it if you shared that as well. If you could like and share my videos, that really helps me get more views, and that in turn helps my business grow so that I can keep doing these videos every week. So yes, please like and share. And if you go over to YouTube, also subscribe to my channel there. Everyone who shares, I'll draw a name and we'll send cards as a thank you. And if you need any of these supplies or anything else out of the catalog, or if you need a catalog, I would really appreciate your business. So I hope you all have a lovely evening. Thank you for being here with me tonight, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.